Certain types of cars are associated with certain countries. America, muscle cars. Italy, supercars, probably. Japan, no, not tuner cars. Japan is the home of the K car. What on earth is a K car? Literally translated, Keijidosha means light automobile, which is what they are. They're the lightest, most compact, least powerful cars money can buy. The class is designed to serve the very special needs of Japanese drivers, providing tax, insurance, and general road use benefits. In the 71 years since their introduction, they have invariably made up a significant chunk of the Japanese new car market. And here are some of our favourites. And if you do enjoy this video, do give it a like and subscribe if you'd like more from Goodwood Road and Racing. When K cars first appeared, regulations stipulated that their engines exceed no more than 360 cubic centimetres of capacity. With that, cars like the imaginatively named Subaru 360 appeared. It weighed just 454 kilograms, which is half the weight of a Lotus Elise, and also around the weight that 5 different competitors managed to lift in the last Deadlift World Championships. Not much then for the tiny little twin-cylinder engine to shift around. First introduced in 1958, 392,000 360s, including custom, convertible and the sporty Young model, were shifted in the 12 years it was on sale. If you think the Subaru is light, how about the Mazda R360? It comes in under the 454 kilogram 360 by 74 kilograms, weighing just 380. Powered by a rear-mounted V-twin, so imagine a 911 meets Ducati Panigale, the R360 was something of a stylish little coupe. On sale between 1960 and 1966, it was one of the most popular K cars around, and spawned a number of different versions, including a sedan and even a pickup. Here's something you might find a bit more familiar: the Suzuki Jimny. Not exactly first conceived as a K car, Suzuki had to pull the external spare wheel into the interior to get the length inside 3 meters. That made it a 3-seater, a tiny, tall McLaren F1. But in combination with the engine swap for a 360cc 2-stroke, the LJ10 earned K-car status. Originally assembled by hand, like a Bentley, production was quickly ramped up after the model's huge initial popularity. Granted, compared to the other entries thus far, it's a comparative heavyweight at a portly 590 kilograms, but a K-car it remained. The Suzuki Fronte was not dissimilar in concept to the Subaru 360, but it's the coupe that came 10 years into its life that we're curious about. That swooping coupe window puts us in mind of the Lancia Fulvia Sport Zagato, or the Alfa Romeo Montreal. Curious, as it was Giugiaro, not Bertone, that offered the first pass at its styling. At this point, we're over 10 years into the K-car genre, so weight is increasing. The Fronte Coupe was a hefty beast compared to the K-car founding fathers at 500 kilograms. It was also the forebear to the equally cute and much more available in Europe SC100 WizKid. Jump forward to 1991 and what has to be one of the most famous K cars ever made. In 1990, K regulations were overhauled and cars got ever so slightly longer, but were allowed larger 660cc engines. While regulators gave with one hand, they took away with the other, as the larger engines were allowed no more than 64 horsepower. We're also at the point where designers realised that these cars were mid or rear-engined, so they could begin styling them like mini supercars. The Honda Beat is just such a machine, with sporty Pininfarina styling, a drop top, and colour options more akin to Maranello than Suzuka. Its 656cc three-cylinder engine produced those 64 horsepower thanks to its M-Trek system and individual throttle bodies. It also revved over 8,000 RPM. If that sounds not unlike a motorbike engine, you wouldn't be far off. The Beat was one of a number of sporty K-cars to crop up in the 1990s and 2000s. Alongside this, the Suzuki Cappuccino, the one K-car that could claim to be more famous than the Beat. It too arrived in 1991 with a 675cc three-cylinder, with the additional help of a teeny little turbocharger, for a total of 64 horsepower, in line with K-car regulations. It had a pop-out roof for the air-in-your-hair experience. Though not initially intended to be exported, the Cappuccino did eventually reach UK shores, if only for a few short years and in numbers as small as it was. The cause of making microscopic supercars came to a head with the Mazda Autozam AZ-1, a K-car that almost perfectly emulated the archetypal early 90s small production no-name supercar at half scale. It was mid-engined, with a familiar turbocharged three-cylinder also seen in the Suzuki Cappuccino. What, apart from the looks, made the AZ-1 stand out? Gull-wing doors. Need we say any more? Actually, yes. Of all the latter-day modified versions of these cars, the RE Amamiya G-Ready VI AZ-1 is as mad a machine as its name is long, swapping the 3-pot out for a 20B Mazda rotary engine. It also got suspension upgrades similar to those found on a Porsche 962 and brakes taken directly from a Ferrari F40. Honestly. Possibly the most successful K-car across in Europe was Daihatsu's Copen Cabriolet K-car of the early 2000s. It traded out the rather rough and tumble looks of its early 90s equivalents in favour of a softer, rounded look, somewhat closer to an Audi TT washed on too high a setting. We rather like it. You know the deal by now. Under 660cc, but in this case 4 cylinders, working with a turbocharger rather than 3. Markets outside of Japan got a somewhat meatier 1.3 litre engine. To read the spec sheet of a K-car, you imagine pensioner-friendly econo boxes, and, indeed, many are, especially as we move into the 2010s. Yes, there's the newish Daihatsu Copen from this era, but it's not all that appealing. What is appealing is the spiritual successor to the Honda Beat, the Honda S660. It's a 2-seater roadster, not dissimilar in styling language to the current Honda NSX supercar. The caveat, of course, is that this is a K-car, so rather than a 570 horsepower hybridized twin-turbo V6 engine, it's got a 658cc 3-cylinder turbo. But it's also the only S-badged Honda Roadster since the S2000, and doesn't it just look superb? Some K-cars that were never intended for other markets made their way to lands beyond Japan. On the flip side, some cars never really intended for classification as K-cars find their way in. This is perhaps the best example of the latter. Meet the Caterham 160, arguably one of the coolest and most unlikely K-cars. With a 660cc Suzuki engine, a slim body and skinny tyres, it gets the already slight Caterham over the line as a K-car in terms of regulations. The difference? Well, in Japan, it produces the regulation 64 horsepower. In the UK, you get a heady 80. It won't set your hair alight, but with just 500 kilograms to shift, it's an absolute riot. That then is our list of our favourite K-cars ever. But have we missed any quirky K-cars? Which is your favourite? Let us know what you think in the comments below.